even though Trump does claim he wasn't allowed to closing statements in his fraud trial, he was given conditions on what he could say, and then ended up going on a rant attacking the staffers and stuff like that, because this dude is literally insane.
Legal analyst Danny Savalos this morning. Danny, always great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. So Trump was ultimately allowed to speak briefly yesterday. So I got a bunch of questions here as a warning.
So do I.
Because we had this whole conversation yesterday that was denied. How did that even end up happening? And then also, he did take it as an opportunity to...
It ended up happening because he spoke out of turn, even though he should have been held in contempt of court.
lash out at the judge, at the attorney general. Kind of this extraordinary move on the part of a defendant. What do you make of what he said and of that move in terms of how it fits into the case here and his argument?
First, how did that happen? It happened because Donald Trump is being treated differently than any other defendant would be in virtually any other court. There is a long-standing rule that if you are a...
Yeah, Trump is definitely being treated special compared to regular people. If anybody else did anything like Trump has done, they would have already...
party, but you have a lawyer, unless, I mean, if you're not proceeding pro se, if you have a lawyer, the lawyer does the talking. And you want to test this theory, go into any courtroom, sooner or later the client, the party, will want to say something. They'll raise their hand or they'll turn to the lawyer and the judge says no. That's why you have lawyers. And there are reasons for that, because lawyers understand judicial efficiency. They know what is appropriate to say in open court and what is not. And so for that reason, there's no reason I can think of why Donald Trump should have been allowed to speak, why this was even an option. You can get into a separate discussion about why would his attorneys even want him to speak. That's a whole nother issue. But he never...
Though it's honestly good that Trump did go on his rant. It shows how little he knows about laws in the court and how crazy he is.
Never should have been allowed. And the only reason that he was is because this is a high-profile case, and I've often said that the normal rules of procedure just go out the window when you're dealing with a high-profile case. Whether it's OJ, whether it's this case, it doesn't matter. Things happen that we just don't have any rule book for, because that's not the way things work. And by the way, you know why clients are not allowed to speak in open court or give closing arguments? Because they go off the rails. Exhibit A is yesterday, when Donald Trump was allowed to speak. He went off the rails. Everything that Justice Engoron was worried that he would do, he did. So if anyone learned a lesson, it was Justice Engoron.
Trump left before the AG even presented closing arguments to hold a news conference. But the AG's main argument here is the buck stops with Trump. How strong was their argument overall in this case?
Well, normally I talk about betting the odds, but in this case, this is a rare case where you get a glimpse into how the judge is thinking, because he already decided a large portion of this case on summary judgment before the trial even started. So if you want to say that...
Yeah, they had a previous trial where they determined that Trump was liable for his fraud crimes. This next trial, or the trial now, is just a continuation where they're seeing if how much he owes and what else are his punishments.
The judge is leaning towards the attorney general. Just take a look at the summary judgment opinion, where the judge repeatedly calls what the defendants did fraudulent. So even though the defense put on some interesting experts, they had accounting experts, they had Deutsche Bank witnesses. I mean, if you're betting, the judge in this case has already ruled against the defendant. So because this is not a jury, it's the same judge that decided summary judgment. So probably going to go in favor of the AG. The real question is, what is the dollar amount going to be? That's probably why the AG felt comfortable saying, hey, you know the money we asked for? Can we have some more of that money? Yeah, so no surprise there.
Well, yeah, Donald Trump should be paying as much as legally possible for his crimes, especially dealing with how long he was able to get away with it and how